All right. So the next story is a second Trump assassination attempt has been foiled. So let me explain to you guys what exactly happened because I think I was like out for a coffee when this happened. So like I wasn't like able to follow like minute by minute what exactly like the update because like yeah, I just had my phone with me, but then like the connection, like the coffee shop's Wi-Fi was like wasn't the best and stuff. But anyways, as I was reading like the story after I like got home and got access to like good Wi-Fi, um, it would appear that what happened was Trump was at his golf club in Florida at his Mar-a-Lago resort, and someone was hiding in the bushes like with like an AK-47 waiting for him, and that someone was later identified as 57-year-old Ryan Ruth, and we'll talk about more about the suspects later. But what happened was apparently he snuck on to the golf course, and if you look at the final photo, this is like a Meet Kevin live stream. He did like a live stream covering what exactly happened afterwards as the story was rolling out. And if you look at the golf course, like the hedge was like just out in the open, and then like you could hide behind the hedge, and there's like a hedge in between like the road, so you can like hide behind it and be like concealed from the road so that people driving by can't see you, but then you have a clear line of sight um, towards the actual golf course. And what happened was like Secret Service, they usually go one like golf hole ahead of where Trump is to like kind of scout out the area, but in this case, I think they were like with Trump, and like one of the agents saw the barrel of the gun pointing out from the hedge, like saw the guy about to take a shot, and then immediately fired on the suspect. Didn't hit him, but it scared the suspect enough so that the suspect fled before he was able to take a shot. And later on, there was an eyewitness that just so happens to see the suspect flee into a car and took a picture of his license plate. And with that info, the police was able to apprehend the suspect rather quickly. Luckily, that they had that witness, right? So again, this is the second attempt on Trump's life now in what, like 2 to 3 months, and there's number one, there's some like serious security questions, right? Like in this case, it was a lesser close call than the first one, right? Where the first one actually got a few shots off on Trump and grazed his ear. This one, the suspect was spotted before he was able to take a shot. However, given that what I just showed you with the photo from me Kevin's live stream with the hedge that just opens like that and like anyone can walk in, and also apparently the suspect camped out for 12 hours, so he was there for 12 hours before Trump showed up. So he was able to kind of scout out the area beforehand and also make his plans and also just camp out there without being spotted for 12 hours until like the very last moment the Secret Service caught him. So yeah, my first question for you guys is, do you think the Secret Service did a good job? Right? Because there's things you can praise about them, and then there's things you can criticize. So it's kind of like a more mixed reaction this time versus last time. Everyone was kind of blaming the Secret Service for letting the suspect onto like a roof that was only a few hundred yards away from Trump, but this time it was again, as I said, a more mixed reaction. So do you think that the Secret Service did a good job here? And the second part is, I actually wanted to talk about the suspect a little more. So as I said, his name is Ryan Ruth, and he's like 50, 57, I think he was. And he's like a really pro Ukrainian person. And he's like pro Ukrainian to the part to the degree that be willing to like he said multiple times on social media and stuff in his past that he's willing to like go to Ukraine and die for Ukraine, just to like kick out Putin and stuff like that. And in this photo, actually, I shared, he's like at a protest, at a pro-Ukrainian protest, right? So, um, yeah, what do you think of the like? Do you think that that part, like his like pro-Ukrainianness, played into into like a factor on why he decided to um, take a shot at Trump potentially, right? And yeah, that's kind of like the second part of the question is like, you know, do you think that there is like do you think there's a lot of other people who might, be radicalized this way, or like what do you think of this situation in general? Is kind of what I'm getting at.
I think it's quite a problem the way that the Democrats have made Trump out as this massive threat to the people that seems to have convinced a surprising number of individuals to do something about it by trying to assassinate Trump. So I think this is an area where the rhetoric that the Democrats are using is a problem, and they need to, in my opinion, they need to tone it down. And that could go for Trump too, in the sense of like I think that both parties should be trying to maintain a level of civility between each other, so that they aren't encouraging the insane portion of their bases to go and try and murder the other leader. So I think that's clearly a problem. With regards to whether or not and sorry, just to circle back on that, and I think that it's an important piece for the American political system and the democracy in general, that we aren't trying to kill the other people who are running against each other. A difference of opinion does not give you the right to murder someone, and it shouldn't be a role that has such a high threat of murder, and such a and there it really shouldn't, like, that's not really the way democracy should be working. It shouldn't be that we're deciding that we're putting these people at all this risk just because we disagree with them. It's it's not right. Like, and I'd be saying the same thing if they were trying to assassinate Kamala, and we had that that same sort of crazy individuals doing that. I'd be saying the same thing. It's not how democracy should work. And I've heard some people be like, this this would be good, basically, like the idea that having Trump assassinated would be good, and I just can't buy that in any sense of the world. That I think that weakens the American democracy in general, because you're literally going against the wishes of half the population who, I guess you disagree with, but that doesn't give you the right to decide who they should or shouldn't choose as their representative. So on that front, I think that's a very poor take. You can love Trump, you can hate Trump, but we shouldn't be trying to get him murdered. I don't think that results in a good scenario. And to be frank, I think that if he was, that he would make him a martyr, and I think that would cause even far more problems than a fair legal election occurring and people deciding with their votes that Donald Trump is not the person they want elected. So on that front, I think that's a real issue. And then with regards to the Secret Service, it does seem to me like I don't understand how the Secret Service wouldn't have, made sure there wasn't a dude in the bushes trying to kill the guy they have to protect, and prior to the guy they're trying to protect being even remotely close to him. So I think a little bit, it does sound to me a little bit like they were maybe not staffed as heavily as they should be, and then maybe the security piece, particularly since Trump has already had an assassination attempt that almost killed him. Um, I would say that there should really have been more priority placed on ensuring that this venue was safe. So I think that that's a problem. I think with regards to the agents who were, clearly closer to Trump, who were the ones who actually launched the uh like shot at the guy and scared him off. I think that they were essentially doing their job. Um, and I think that they wouldn't have had to shoot if someone had done a better job to scour the area and ensure that there wasn't a guy hanging out in the bush in the first place. But I think that at the very least, they proved that they are capable and willing to defend the president, or the former president, I guess, is the more accurate statement. Um, or honestly, probably more accurate is the Republican Party leader and the opposition to the current ruling party. So, I think that they did an acceptable job on actually, making sure he didn't die. But I think that there were clearly areas in which they could have been more thorough.
Okay. As for me, I do agree with Tristan. I don't think, in the line of democracy, just because we don't support a specific person, we should just go ahead and plan out like Assassin's Creed Altair and like Ezio Auditore, like execution. I don't think that's like in the proper place. You need to just be as civil as possible, just abide by the laws and regulation of, like whichever country you're in. And we're talking about the United States, obviously, right now. So like just abide by those laws and like you will be okay. Just don't do anything ridiculous like murder and things like that. I don't think that's right. Um, and to talk about like the 12-hour before thing, I think it's pretty wild. He was scouting the area for a while, and I felt like the Secret Service could have done a better job of doing their job pretty much and just like preventing anything worse from going on. And yeah, it's unfortunate that in the end, an attempted assassination had to happen or like almost happened, and then they had to do whatever it took to, like defend their Democratic leader. Let's just call it, or their Republican leader, like what Tristan was mentioning. But it is what it is, and hopefully, this like attempted assassination business doesn't happen again in the future. And um, on top of that, yeah, he is like a Ukrainian supporter, so I can kind of see where um the attempt came from, like I guess the core of it all. But yeah, I hope nothing like this ever happens again. I think it's a bit crazy if you ask me. So
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you guys just said. I'll be quick on this because we don't have that much more time left on this episode. But yeah, I mean, I said the same thing that I said about the last assassination attempt. Is like I feel like what this ends up uh, doing is that either you succeed and make him a martyr, or you fail and then a lot of people will like sympathy vote for him, right? So it's like if you're against Trump and you're like tempted to like do something violent like this, like don't, because it's a lose-lose, right? Like you're just gonna make him stronger no matter what. Like if even if you succeed, like you're gonna make him a martyr, and then I don't know. I feel like they would just nominate another Republican who's ideologically aligned with Trump, right? Maybe they'll like elevate Vance or someone, and then you'll just get more of the same, right? So yeah, it really doesn't help anything. And in fact, like if we go down this road of political assassinations, then you're going to become a failed state eventually, right? Because that's what happens in a lot of these like banana republics in like Central and South America, or like in Africa, where you start a civil war basically, right? So this is just bad all around, and I'm super glad that the Secret Service was able to kind of stop this guy from even getting a shot off. But yeah, as you guys have said, I feel like they could have done an even better job. by just like not letting it get this close in the first place. So I'm not disparaging like the men and women who work at the Secret Service. It's a very dangerous job, and I understand that. But just take a look at like the bushes like around this golf course, right? Like there's a huge wide open path that anyone can just walk in, and they should have had someone scouting that area beforehand, in my opinion. And if they had been there like any time for like the 12 hours, because the guy was hiding for 12 hours before Trump showed up, right? If they just had one agent kind of doing a perimeter walk anytime in the 12 hours preceding Trump's arrival, they could have prevented this whole episode from happening. And we don't have much time to speak about like the Ukraine thing. I just to put it out there, I'm not trying to disparage like pro-Ukraine like supporters and stuff like that. I'm just saying like maybe we can talk about this another day. But like a lot of this like kind of discourse around all these political issues, whether it be Ukraine or Palestine or just all of this, I feel like it's getting a little out of control, especially in America and here in Canada too. And I think we should be mindful of just respecting other people's political differences, right? Like as a nation, we don't agree with like half the country, right? One half the country doesn't agree with the other half, and you're always going to get that kind of disagreement with certain political issues, and we should resolve those problems by discussing and debating rather than taking a gun out on someone, right? So that's just my opinion, and I think that was surprisingly uncontroversial.